Hi, Year 10. This morning, I just want to get you back started on the transactional writing. So this is the other part of paper 2. Obviously, we've been doing the reading section. We finished that now. There's a couple of things that you've emailed me about personally that I'm going to reply to, but we are going to move on. But please, 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 please let me know if there's anything you're not sure about that you want me to give you one-to-one support with or feedback on. So as the same with the writing section, this is also worth 30% of your GCSE. So together the paper's worth 60%. And remember, every mark gained on this paper is worth 1.5 marks of your language overall. So we have talked about this before, and I'm very conscious that it was a bit messy before we even went into lockdown, because you had Sir some lessons and you had me some lessons. I had that week where I was off, where you did reviews. So everything is just a little bit up in the air. So today's lesson is really just about making sure that you're getting back on track. And then once you've kind of got you've gone through all your notes and you feel like you know where everything is, that I'm going to take you through in this video, then I just want you to have a go at the quiz, and it's kind of like to assess your starting point really. So don't worry if you're getting, 40% or whatever, that's fine. As long as you've done your best on it and you have actually gone through all your notes. I want to know what you know. I don't want to know, sorry, let me say that again. I want to know what you know once you've gone through everything, you've got everything in place. I don't want to know what you know right now. But the idea is then that obviously I can plan the lessons based on your knowledge gaps, and we can build on what you've already got sorted from before lockdown. As you'll know now from your revision pack, the transactional writing will be in as part of your assessment when we get back in September. So you'll have your 30-minute poetry response, and you'll also have either a letter, a speech, or an article to write. So because of that, as you can see by I've put them in red, we are going to not prioritise reports and guides just yet. So we might get up to them before the summer. We might not. That's fine if we don't. We will come back to them in year 11. The other thing I might want to try and squeeze in before the summer is another poem. So we'll see how we get on. But definitely we will cover letters, speeches and articles, because they're the three that always come up on the exam and will be part of your assessment when you get back in September, assuming all goes to plan. Right, so I just want to take you through what we've actually already covered, because it's actually quite a lot, but it might not feel like that to you. So we have already covered how to write a review. Now I've kind of like ragged my own teaching, which is green is I'm confident that I've done that right. Amber, I still think we need some work, and red is we've not done it at all, hence guides and reports being in red. So how to write a review, I think, is Amber stage. I know you struggled a little bit with the review booklet that I set you, but we did have that lesson when I got back where we went through everything and you did seem more confident. However, I think it's Amber because I've still not given you feedback on your reviews. Do you remember I was going to collect in one per team, wasn't I, and give feedback, and that didn't happen, or there were certain people I was going to mark. So that still needs to happen before I feel confident that you know exactly how to write a review. We also went through how to use rhetoric, so persuasive language, and we talked about Aristotle, etc. I'll talk to you more about that in a minute. Again, we have covered it, but I do feel like we need to go over it again, so that's why it's not in green. How to write a speech, I am feeling quite confident about. Please let me know if you're not. The vast majority of you did write your speeches. They were really positive, really good. We've had personal feedback, so I'm hoping that you do feel quite confident that you can write a speech. The only thing obviously we want to look at is writing a speech for different audiences, because you guys had free reign of your topic, but also they were mostly written for our class, weren't they? So I'll give you more practice in terms of writing for other audiences, and also with a bit more restriction on your topic, because obviously in the exam they'll tell you what to write about. And we've also been through the formatting rules for speeches, articles and letters. Now again, this is Amber. It's quite straightforward, but some of you missed this lesson because you were on a geography field trip. I think, was it Colmendy? Feels like 10 years ago that. I'm sure it was for you as well. So and also I think you did that lesson with Sir, so that's still something that I want to come back to. Right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to just show you. I've screenshotted the resources that you should have, or the notes that you should have for each of these 4 things. I'm going to attach all of the resources to show my homework, and what I want you to do is fill in your own gaps. So if you're missing a lesson or notes or key knowledge or a worksheet, I want you to kind of make notes on that, the thing that you miss it. Print it if you can. I know that might not be an option. And kind of give yourself access to that. I basically want you to just make sure you've got all of this knowledge in your notes and reread it today before you do the quiz. All right, so how to write a review. You should have this review booklet. Now, I'm not worried about this, and reviews will not be part of your quiz today because that's not what we're focusing on anymore for this next month or so. But obviously, if you've not got the review booklet, then that's definitely something you need. And can you let me know? But it will be attached to the Show My Homework for you. I'm pretty sure you were all in for that though. Right, how to use rhetoric, persuasive language. Now you should have, but you did this lesson with Sir, you should have the following table in some form in your notes where it teaches you how to develop your arguments. And I think we did cover this as well under how to write a speech. So please make sure you've got this, and if you haven't, can you make sure you jot down these 10 skills, these 10 ways you can develop any argument you make. When I marked this exam, one of the things that kept students in Band 3 was that they weren't developing their arguments enough. They really want you to really develop what you're saying to get into Band 4 and 5, and that's obviously where we want to be. So please make sure you've got that in your notes in some format. We recalled Aristotle. This was one of my lessons on a PowerPoint, and we looked at logos, pathos and ethos. And if you remember, in your teams, you got together and you were persuading me to do something. I can't remember what it was now. I actually did mark those, and then I never got time to give you them back. So you had a go at using pathos, ethos and logos, all 3 approaches in a paragraph to me. And if you remember, we talked about how pathos is the most effective because it gets people's emotions, and that's the best, whereas logos can feel a bit dry and a bit overwhelming if you're just giving them facts after facts after facts. But also, it's effective because if people can't dispute what you're saying, then they're going to probably agree with you. So we talked about using all 3 in our persuasive writing, and most of the time, at least one of the questions on the writing paper will be to give your views on something, which is where you need to use your persuasive writing, your rhetoric. So again, please make sure you've got that in your notes somewhere. If you haven't, then please fill it in and just reread it, refamiliarize yourself with it. There will be questions on this in the quiz. We also talked about in the same lesson, so it should be nearby in your notes, how we need to adapt for different audiences. So we need to be thinking about their values and priorities, their interests, what are they stressed about, and their experiences, and how you can manipulate all of those things to get them on side. So again, make sure you've got those down. This again will be in the quiz. Make sure that they're in your notes somewhere. Right, for how to write a speech, obviously a lot of this was done during home learning, and I've put the link to the video though, which I realise there's no use to whatsoever on this video, but I'll put it in the description below. And how, you've got that video there. It was 34 minutes long, so you might just, if you didn't do that, if you didn't really engage with that video, please do make sure you've gone through but just looking at it from the point of view of how to write an effective speech. Make sure you've got the notes on that. You also will have in your notes, or your pink books, I'm not sure, this speech, which starts with, let me start with a question. We annotated this together in class, so it should be somewhere in your notes again. If you haven't got it, then it's attached to Show My Homework, and the PowerPoint is as well, so you can have a look at what notes we added on. Excuse my scroll, I'm sure you will have fun trying to read my writing. Sorry, let me know if anything's not clear. Okay, and then I also gave you this speech. So this was all about the formatting rules. Did I just say speech? Sheet. Formatting rules for speeches, articles and letters. So you've got this. It's a double-sided sheet. These are what the top of the two sides look like. Again, if you haven't got this, please, obviously it's on Show My Homework. Make notes from it today, or print it off so you've got it in your folder, or just read over it because there will be questions about this on the quiz as well. Okay, this is your crib sheet. This is everything on it. So this will be a really good revision resource for your assessment in September because it literally outlines the key differences between the 3 texts. And you do need to show that you understand, the different demands of each of these texts. And it makes sense. They're real life texts. or, you know, maybe you might not write an article in your life if you don't become a journalist, but you might write a blog. Everyone can write a blog. You probably will give a speech in some form, whether it's to a member of your family, telling them off, or telling them why they're fantastic, or, you know, something more formal. So, and again, a letter or an email, I suppose. You know, I can't remember the last time I wrote a letter as an adult, to be honest. Apart from in my job, like I said, sending letters home to parents, etc. I did used to write my letters to my friend. It was really nice, but we stopped doing it. Got too busy. Sad face. So anyway, you will at some point write in these text formats. So, you know, they are good life skills, I think. This part of the paper is very useful. I think it's easier to see that this is useful compared to the reading paper. Even though the reading paper is important, it just sometimes doesn't seem it when you're getting stuck into how and what questions. All right, so they are the 4 things that I kind of want you to already have knowledge of. And like I said, the key ones for the quiz are this one, rhetoric, and how to write a speech. Okay. So what I'd like you to do today, as I've already said, is just sort everything out, check what you've got, read over your notes, and then complete the quiz so that I know where you're up to with your knowledge. And then just to show you, these are going to be our priorities over the next month. We've actually got less than a month left now of the school year. So we're going to cement your understanding of rhetoric, persuasive speech or writing. We're going to cement your understanding of the differences between the 3 texts, and I will base those lessons on your quiz. So again, show me what you know. You know, I really want to, I don't, try to do your best so that I'm not teaching you stuff you do already know. We're going to develop your journalistic writing for articles, because I know that's something you didn't particularly feel confident with last year in year 9. So we're going to come back to that, and I'll do some resources on that. And then again, same for adapting for different audiences. And we're going to do some spag work and vocab work as well. Because if we want to be getting grades 8s and 9s, we do need to be nailing our punctuation, grammar, and making sure the examiner will actually look for impressive vocabulary. So we need to make sure you've got some. Okay. Right, so there are our priorities. Any questions, as always, let me know. This is our last lesson for the week because Thursday's inset. So even if you don't get round to doing all of this today, or if you just don't fancy being very organised today, you have got, you know, time for the rest of the week. I suppose you've got Thursday to catch up on anything. Likewise with your poetry, please do. If you haven't sent me your poetry essay, please take Thursday to try and give it a go. I am recording grades. I am wanting to keep track of where you're up to with these skills. Hopefully, if all goes to plan, it will be your first mock. So, you know, I want to give you feedback. I don't want the first time you do a comparison essay to be your mock. I want you to have had feedback before that. So that's why I keep harping on about it. So do your best. Any time before the summer, I will give you feedback. Okay. Right. So enjoy the rest of your week if you can. I'll see some of you on Friday, and I will see set more work next Monday. All right, bye guys, thank you.